no balls fall. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Count with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. NFL. Do a little NFL today. What teams do you think will be improved this year over last year? What teams do you think might fall off a bit this season versus last season? Baker Mayfield looks like he's betting on himself again when it comes to contract talks. What are the Bucs doing? Not wanting to pay Vita Vea, and he's wanting to trade. Now, their quarterback going to go into the last year of his deal without any certainty. So is this a sign that maybe the Bucs are thinking tear down and start over? Well, see what Baker does. If it works, great. If not, that's all right. This looks like a pretty good class for quarterbacks coming out in the draft. And then where would if Baker doesn't go back to the Bucs, where would he go? What would be a good spot for him? College football, we mentioned it yesterday at the very end of the show. We saw the news breaking about Ohio State and a logo on their jersey. Reports are $17, $18 million a year with JP Morgan Chase Bank. And then a few hours later, one of the most sacred, iconic, I guess we're going to have to call it now, areas of advertisement instead of a uniform, was desecrated by SoFi, paying Notre Dame $20 million. Is this just something everybody's going to find somebody to pay them the money to do this? Will it stop at one? Are we going to have NASCAR college football jerseys? I mean, would Notre Dame dare go helmet on this thing? Where does it stop? Does it stop with logos on the jerseys? And then do you have any outside-the-box ideas for these colleges to raise money, to raise revenue in these ways? There's a list on ESPN I talked about yesterday, 157 games, and that's just the reason why it's 157 is because that's how many college football seasons there have been in history going into this year. But the 157 games that have shaped what we see currently on the field in college football, that was an interesting list. Some games that, there's a bunch from way back that very few listening today remember or were live for. There's some now. And you hate to be like prisoner of the moment. You know what I mean? And have too many, like nowadays, when there's so much history of college football. At the same time, it's probably a little bit different sport being played now than it was then, and that's sort of the point of this whole list. So we can go back and look, and some performances you remember, some games you remember that have shaped whether or not they're on the list or not. Are there any that definitely aren't on the list that you would have on there? Just go.
That's hard to do with 100 games. That's hard to find.
Well, there's 157 games, right?
I thought it was top 100 games
of the 157 years.
Seasons.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or it's not really top 100. I mean, it's just different.
It's just
shaping.
What shaped college football.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking for one game that's not, and I can't. It's not on this list that I immediately think of. But
all right, we'll talk about that.
I can't think of any more because the ones I think of, like, well, there it is.
Most of them are on there, but there are some just for totally different reasons. I think that's why this makes this list interesting, because it's not necessarily the 100 greatest games. You know what I mean? Because then you'd have a hard time not seeing games.
Right.
I mean, some of these games aren't the greatest games.
No, but for what they meant for what it meant moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That is 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things, whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. Log on to kadsam.com or download the Paragon Communications app. The app's got it all. It's got radio. It's got the Penny News. Brand new edition of the Penny News hit the website last night at midnight. Go check it out at thepennynews.com. Big Elk and Paragon TV coming around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. And then also Skinny on Sports podcast available anywhere podcasts drop. All right, so let's just start with the game that you were looking for that you didn't find on the list.
Well, 1985 Miami, Oklahoma, because it was supposed to be bringing in the era of the West Coast pro-style offense in Norman with Troy Aikman, homeboy from Henrietta. Of course, he breaks his leg. They go back to the triple option, and the rest is history. They go on to win the national title. What if he hadn't broken his leg? It's more of like a what-if kind of game. You know, what if Troy didn't break his leg? What would that team look like? Would they have won the national title? Would there have been growing pains with that new offense that Switzer is trying to bring in? And, then the coaches involved, Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson on the sidelines. And we know the history of Troy and Jimmy, getting together in Dallas in this pro career. But that game stood out to me as one that wasn't on the list for all the implications that it was.
Yeah, I mean, that one specifically wasn't, but the Orange Bowl for the national title was later on. Mm-hmm. And it talks about in the write-up of that story, it was harder for Switzer to keep on recruiting the elite offensive talent because they went back to the wishbone. There are a lot of what-ifs there.
And it was a time in a shift of the offense where everybody was going pro, pro style.
And it says that they wanted to play in pro style offenses like Miami's, and Oklahoma went back to the wishbone in the 1985. I mean, it talks about that game without talking about it. That Oklahoma from 85 to 87 was 33-3, and every single loss was to Miami. They were 33-0 against everybody else and 0-3 against Miami. The ones that you're right. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find one that's not on this list. I mean, I'm sure there are OU and OSU fans out there looking at the list and going, "How come we're always on the losing end of these games?"
Yeah, there's
multiple. Yeah. I mean,
OSU, Iowa State, 2011.
Right.
Yeah,
that could have been.
What if that?
I mean, that kick was inches away.
Yeah.
From being a national title game appearance against LSU.
Right. Who a lot of people thought OSU could have beaten that team.
I'm not so sure OSU couldn't have beaten either one of them.
Right.
When it came down to it, but they didn't get that chance. And then Oklahoma's there tons of losses. I think there was one win.
The Orange Bowl.
Yeah. And that a game that's not on this list that I know my dad always talked about. Like one of those, how in the world did Oklahoma lose that game and how crushing it was. And I actually think it was on the day that my parents got married. This game was played. And it was 1978, Oklahoma at Nebraska. And Billy Sims running down the sideline. You think that the Sooners are going to beat him again, and he fumbles it like inside the 5. And it was one of like 9 or 11 fumbles that OU had that day. And then they bounce back and just obliterate Nebraska in the Orange Bowl in a rematch a month later or whatever. That's one that I always remember, Dad talking about and like making you sick type things.
Yeah, I think we're going to really lean on OU and OSU games that aren't on this list, but the ramifications of it. Like OSU, I know this seems silly, but was it 07 OSU Texas Tech, and not so much for the game, but what happened after the game. The game was a classic, but everybody forgot the game because Mike Gundy's went
rant.
up and he stood up for his players. And it put Mike Gundy on a national spotlight and there for many years to come. And I think it kind of opened, like, there have been rants before that, but, like, coaches, like, it's okay for me to go up there and say what I want to say, and defend my players and get a little irritated with stuff, but I've always been kind of held back, but, he kind of a pioneer in a way. Another one, that classic crazy Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Mahomes. It's not on this list. Unless I overlooked it. That game in 16 in Lubbock, where OU and Texas Tech just had a crazy amount of offense between those two quarterbacks. That OU somehow won. That game, was nuts. And then it got me thinking, it was so foreign and so crazy on September 11th of 1999, if you went to the very first OU game that season and just saw the ball flying through the air all over the place from a left-handed quarterback named Josh Heupel, and you go, what is this? Who's that guy calling the play? Mike Leach? Bob Stoops? What are you doing? It introduced the air raid into Norman, and again, the rest is history.
Yeah, Hal Mummy's on this list for his first
and it goes,
game.
Yeah, they go
all the way back
to that. Yeah,
one of them that I forgot that I would have never thought of until one of the is classic endings is one of the categories here where Bill Connolly puts these in, and of course it's got the Cal Stanford, the band is on the field play, the Flutie Hail Mary. A wide right for Florida State and Miami. Cordell Stewart and his Hail Mary up there in Michigan for Colorado. It's got the one from LSU at Kentucky. That crazy sequence. Back-to-back home games from Auburn in 2013. Where Georgia has them beat, and they fire it down the field, and it goes off of Georgia defensive back's hands right into the hands of the Auburn guy, and he scores. You think, wow, what a miracle. And then the very next game is the Iron Bowl, kick six. For back-to-back incredible finishes. But the one on here.
That took years off of people's lives if you're an Auburn fan, win or lose.
But one of the funkiest ones that's a crazy ending was that Central Michigan OSU game.
Yep.
When Oklahoma State's trying to run the clock out by just throwing it in the stands, and they don't quite get it done. And then, have you ever seen a Hail Mary lateral work? I'd kind of forgotten about that one until you see it.
Oh, I remember exactly where I was. Got home from the rodeo parade and basically saw the last fourth quarter. And couldn't believe I stood there like, are you kidding me? Wild. And a lot of controversy there. There's talk there that clock should have ticked off. How about this one? How about the Texas-Nebraska Big 12 championship game?
The 1 second game?
The 1 second game. Is that on this list?
I think so.
Couldn't find it, but I guess.
Oh, no. The first Big 12 title game.
96.
Yes,
yeah.
that one was definitely on there with Texas beating Nebraska,
upsetting them.
And there's a big time 30 for 30 about it when the SEC came up with that idea in 1992 to split into divisions, Arkansas and South Carolina joining, have a SEC title game, and how close maybe history was to changing if Florida upset undefeated Alabama and cost them a chance to play for the national title. And it was very, very close to happening. And, of course, that then happened in the very first Big 12 title game with Nebraska. Could have possibly won 4 in a row. And it didn't happen.
Is the game of the century on here? Nebraska OU 71?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing it. when you think about the individual performances, I'm surprised, but I'm very, very glad that one individual performance made it to this list. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
An individual performance that made the list. No.
The second BCS title game. Florida State, Virginia Tech. And Florida State jumping out 28-7 over Virginia Tech, and then Michael Vick looking like Superman to bring the Hokies back to the lead that then they eventually it was over. Peter Warwick was a Heisman winner, and how good he was in that game. Or I guess he was until he got in trouble. But he was great. Vic was unbelievable. That's one that stands out to me as far as like just a performance in a game.
Yeah.
One play, and it's on here. One of the plays that I remember growing up was when Tommy Frazier ran through the whole defense of Florida and when they just beat the Gators down.
Yeah.
Like, that's a play that I can remember standing out. And then another, I mean, you can't tell individual performances in college football history in games without Vince Young against USC. I mean, that is one of the, if not the greatest individual performance that you'll ever see.
Oh, yeah.
In a spot like that.
Yeah. Yes, USC, and looking at this list now, right under, I always remember Reggie Bush just running through, around, not through Fresno State defenders. I remember that game. And they could not, it's like he was covered in butter, and they could not get him down. And somehow Fresno State scored 42 points on him. You think Lincoln Riley was coaching him back then. But that game, I remember, as far as individual performance, stood out.
Yeah, and the crazy part about Vince is if Pete Carroll has Reggie Bush on the field, we remember it, but in a loss. If he has him on the field for 4th down and 1 yard. Yeah, Sproles against OU in the Big 12 title game, that was one hell of a performance.
I was there.
I mean, that was an unbelievable performance.
It was bitterly cold in more ways than one. I was there. Couldn't believe it.
Some of the quirkier plays that have mattered, I guess. That the Michigan State game on the punt thing,
the muffed punt,
that got blocked and ran back for a touchdown. That's
you know why I hate watching that clip. Because you know the guy who, I don't know who it was, the Spartan who scooped it up and went in for the go-ahead touchdown, the winning touchdown. And he was basically dogpiled. You realize he broke his hip?
He got hurt.
And every time I see that, that's where he broke. I can't imagine what a broken hip feels like. Ugh. But that game, those are one of those plays like there are a lot of these. You know if we were live, you know where you were at when you saw it. I remember exactly where I was at when that happened and who was in the house with me when that happened. Katie was a baby back then, and I started screaming. Everyone's looking around like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Look at this. This is how they're going to lose."
Yeah. The App State, Michigan.
Yep.
I
was tailgating that game, and so we stopped and just watched on someone's random TV in the back of their tailgate.
I was at Clinton at the Labor Day golf tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
It was first game of the year. Yeah, it was week 1. And we were in Norman, and I remember we were walking to go to the game, and everybody was just kind of congregating over everyone. I was like, what is going on? And we realized, oh, my God, App State's about to beat these guys.
So 2007 was like the year of the monumental upset that people remember. And it started on January 1st of 2007 with Boise State and Oklahoma, even though it wasn't the same season.
Sure, same calendar year.
Same calendar year started there. Then you get App State, Michigan.
Yeah, when that happened, I thought, okay, now everyone can stop talking about the Boise State game. They can start talking about this one as the biggest upset ever.
Then there was Stanford beating USC as a 40.5-point favorite, with Jim Harbaugh at the helm, still at Stanford back then. And then Pitt beating West Virginia, which was one of the games that threw all the BCS into the complete upheaval that ended up giving us what? Ohio State, LSU. And, you know, the Mountaineers, West Virginia was 28.5-point favorites. USC was a 40.5-point favorite against Stanford. And then it doesn't tell, I can't remember. Michigan, obviously, gigantic favorite over App State. After the calendar year began with Boise and Oklahoma. But at the end of the day, it's the one that's least remembered. But I think it's the one that mattered the most was Pitt, West Virginia, because West Virginia was on the doorstep of being in the BCS title game, and they'd have beat Ohio State. West Virginia, the Mountaineers would have won it with Pat White and those guys. And some guy, some guy named McAfee missed 2 field goals in that game. That could have given West Virginia the win, and I think they'd have won it all. And that 2007 was one of the crazier seasons that there's been, as far as just the ebbs and flows of about the time you think you had an idea of what was going to happen, just a massive upset would, and it got down to, was that the only 2-loss national champ in the BCS era? LSU?
I think so.
I think it was. At least back then. Some other just games that helped shape, I think, Texas, Arkansas from 1969, when James Street led the Horns to an upset of Arkansas, and Richard Nixon being there in the locker room to present Darrell Royal in Texas the national championship. I don't know if it's really the way that should have went, but the way it did go. One play that I can remember I can't remember it as a kid, but remember seeing the highlights was in the Tom Osborne going for 2.
Yep. Against
Miami. And how much different it is now versus then. To where now, you'd play for a tie and go to overtime. There was no such thing as overtime. So, and you had to worry about the voters. Would the voters look at you as a coward for taking the tie? And is that how you wanted to win your first national title? Instead, it didn't work out. And Miami, out of nowhere, their dynastic run for 15 years or what have you starts right then.
Yep, I remember. Well, we don't remember that. What year was that?
1983.
Well, I don't remember that, but that's one that's always brought up. It's like more of like there should be another list called like "What If." Like I mentioned the Troy Aikman thing. What if he doesn't break his leg? What if, Osborne converts? What if?
Or what if he just kicks the extra point?
Or just kicks extra point.
How would they have voted?
Yeah.
And now, looking back, no one with what he ended up doing and winning those 3 titles in the 90s, there's not going to be any asterisk by an all-time ranking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's just going to have 4 national titles.
What if Lincoln Riley doesn't squib kick at the end of the first half in the Rose Bowl against Georgia?
Oh, here, Game Century is on here.
It is on there,
yeah,
okay.
Number 69.
Okay.
Oh, there's what ifs all over the place. I mean, every program, big or small, blue blood, not, they all have the what ifs. I saw a deal last night, like the biggest what if game, or for each Power 4 school, and Oklahoma's was Boise State, and I was like,
No.
that doesn't even make the top 20 of worst losses or whatever you want to call it.
It was a Fiesta Bowl that didn't really mean anything.
That's right.
It wasn't for a national title.
No.
It wasn't for
There's 20 more hurtful losses than
100.
that
Oh yeah.
in the history of Oklahoma. Now,
Rose Bowl might rank right up there.
Rose Bowl will be up there, but it still wasn't for a title. I mean, there's about
again,
5 games that were literally for the title,
Right.
that would be above
100%. Yeah.
But
The word was that even Saban was like, I don't want to play that Oklahoma team.
I don't think the OU defense back then wanted. Now, how fast would he put Tua in?
Sure.
I don't know that the OU defense wanted to part Tua. They damn sure didn't the next year when they just got shredded down in the Orange Bowl.
Right.
But I think there's some schools that you kind of have to pick and choose, like which one. And I think there's others that you know exactly the answer. And that is, Oklahoma State's is obvious.
Iowa State?
100%.
Yeah.
That's an obvious answer for Oklahoma State. But yeah, I mean, that's easy. If Florida State, you'd have to pick out, all right, which wide right?
Yeah.
Which one of those wide rights would have been the one that we might have been able to go and win the title?
So a thing I go to, was it the 07 Big 12 champ game or 08? Where DeMarco Murray got hurt like on the opening
08.
kickoff? Yes, OU won that game comfortably. But the thing for me was like, if DeMarco Murray is healthy, do they go on and win the national title?
Maybe. Yeah, I can tell you Georgia's.
Which one?
2nd and 26 when Tua threw the touchdown in overtime. I can tell you right now, that's, if ask any Georgia fan, what's the most hurtful loss of all time? Is that one.
Yeah.
Easy. You think you're going to have the first title since 1982 after sacking the quarterback, and he throws a touchdown on the next play.
One of the best Red River rivalry games was 08. Texas won that one 38-28, I believe.
45-35.
Thank you, 45. It was a 10-point differential. And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, OU was able to overcome it. Thank you, Texas Tech and Crabtree. And tried to played for a national title. But I was at that game. The whole weekend was not planned around that game. It was me proposing to my wife, now wife. And when they lost, people were texting me going, "Are you still going to propose?" I'm like, what kind of question is that? Yes, I'm still going to propose. This doesn't change anything. I just wish it would have been cherry on top if they had won the game. So that game, I really wish they won that game. Still a perfect weekend.
Like, you think Ole Miss 0-2 LSU game, missed last-second field goal to go to the SEC champ game. LSU went on to win the Natty. 03? Can't be 0-2. So LSU didn't win the national title in 0-2. Ohio State beat Miami. Maybe 0-3 when LSU beat OU. Later on. With Eli. Would Eli have been
Ole
there?
Miss LSU defeated Ole Miss 17-14 in 03. It might be 03.
03.
It was probably a blur for that particular fan that's texting in. A particular Ole
right.
Miss fan.
Could be right.
Which, not judging, because college days, come on, we all know
Yeah,
it.
we all get it. Another one of the iconic plays was Colorado in the Orange Bowl. A play that wasn't with Rocket. returning a punt for a touchdown, but it getting called back for a clip, and then Colorado wins their only national title in the same season when they won the game with 5 downs.
Right.
It's the Colorado fans. Well, the college football.
Is that game on there? That Missouri-Colorado game on there? It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder what game could be circled like, okay, this is why we need a review system.
I would go with that one. Just right off the bat.
But it didn't come till like almost a decade and a half later.
Yeah. First and goal, spike the ball. Second and goal, Eric Bieniemy rushes to the Missouri 1-yard line. Third and goal, and this is when the down marker was messed up. Bieniemy stuffed at the 1. Fourth and goal, down marker showing third down. Spike the ball. So with 2 seconds left. So the spike of the ball should have ended the game on 4th down, and instead they got a 5th down, and Charles Johnson kept it for a touchdown, even though it's not clear even that was a touchdown.
Yeah, review system was definitely needed back then. And it might have got the wheels turning, like, okay, how do we implement a system?
Yeah.
We need something like that. I'm surprised OU at Oregon isn't on here. Although there's really no ramifications from that because there was a review system. They still got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the O2 Fiesta.
Uh-huh. Where the flag comes out.
Ohio State, Miami, national title game.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy to think about. Colorado's only national title came from 5 downs and a block in the back instead of it going the other way. It's fun, and there's so many games.
There are a lot.
So many.
There are a lot.
That shaped it all.
These are fun to do in the off season.
Yep. All right, when we come back, 2 of the more iconic uniforms in college football history have logos. Please make it stop. Skinny on Sports on the Lipscomb Wednesday.
The biggest Ram and Jeep deals of the summer are happening now at Lipscomb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Elk City. Save up to $11,000 on select remaining 2025 Ram heavy-duty trucks during our model year blowout sale. Plus, get 2.9% financing for 84 months on new 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokees. Call or text us now for the best deals at 580-225-3005 or come see us at Lipscomb CDJR, exit 40 off I-40 in Elk City. Good people, great deals since 1979.
The Skinny on Sports.
It's in the hole!
Welcome back, Lipscomb Dealership Wednesday. Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday on the Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Talking a little bit of college football, games from the past, performances from the past. Now, the exact opposite of that is the present, and what's going on right now in college football would probably have Red Grange or some of those guys rolling over in their graves because of just the thirst for revenue, the chase for money that everyone has decided is essential in order to compete in the college sports landscape, especially the college football landscape. And there is no better 2 examples of that from what we saw yesterday with Ohio State and Notre Dame making sponsorship deals to put patches on their jerseys and garnering almost $20 million a piece per year. Did you ever really think, I mean, we kind of joke about it when all this kind of started with the NIL, but did you ever really think we were going to get to the point where Notre Dame, who doesn't even have the last names of their players on the back of their jerseys, having a SoFi patch on the front?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good possibility of something like that happening. With the structure that is college football right now, there's no commissioner to say no. I know there's, especially Notre Dame, they're not in a conference. Who's going to tell them no? Who's going to stop them? Everyone laughs at the NCAA when they try to bring the hammer down. So
Well, not only
I thought as long as it's wide open for anything to happen, which is what it feels like it is right now. I know there's stuff in Congress that they're trying, the Save College Athletics bill. I'm sure I butchered that, which will come down the pike, and we'll get some more structure to this. You think, you hope, and of course that's, I feel like, years away as well. But with nobody, there's no Roger Goodell here to tell him you can't do this. We are a unified unit here. There's nobody to tell him that. Doesn't shock me at all. I think I had a feeling this was coming eventually with the structure that we have in college football.
not only is there nobody to tell you no, I think it could be argued that Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, has moved the SEC logo into the middle of the jersey to make way for advertising space.
There's a lot of speculation. Like, okay, what's OU going to get? And OSU has the Osage patch coming, and I'm okay in a weird way. I'm okay with it. I get it. It's all about the mighty dollar, and building up your coffers for each university. Totally get that. And I've always been a guy, if you make the money, make the money. But as long as, like, what I've always had a kind of in the back of my mind, I've always had a little bit of a problem with. Now I'm changing sports and I'm changing professions here, but the Love's logo on the Thunder's jersey. Nothing against Love's. It just looks so out of place. The Osage logo on the OSU jersey, it looks like it belongs there in a weird way. So if they can find subtle ways to put those patches on there, I'm cool with it too, but sometimes that's inevitable. There's going to be a neon pink. You're going to see a Buc-ee's patch on a Texas Tech jersey one day, and it's going to stand out. But it's going to happen. Now everyone's wondering, okay, they've moved the logo. What's OU going to put on their jersey? But it's coming. It's coming for all of college athletics.
Okay, but where does it stop?
That's the great question. Until it's going to have to take there's going to have to be some standards, I think, from school to school where someone says, we got to.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
We've got to. Yeah. They're going to say, okay, listen, we've run out of room on our jerseys.
I mean, is that what it's going to get to?
Yeah.
Is it NASCAR on college football jerseys? I mean, as weird as it's going to look.
Because college athletics outside of major universities like Kentucky in basketball, Texas OU with football, they're hemorrhaging money. So why would they say no to money?
They're hemorrhaging money?
You think OU basketball is making money?
No, but they don't have to. They don't. I mean, they can help. It'd help a little bit, but that's all coming from football anyways. Mm-hmm. I mean, OU basketball isn't going to make a separate. I guess maybe they could. Hell, who knows? They could probably do whatever they want to. And I mean, it's the crazy part. I mean, are we going to see? I mean, after just thinking about Notre Dame specifically, okay, the little bitty deal on their jersey probably won't even really notice it. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's going to go on the helmet? We're going to notice something going on, a sticker on the helmet, because they've never had one. The Golden Dome is going to be, come on.
That would...
it'd be ridiculous.
That's where
we're not going to have any standards.
College football is going to be questioned. Are you going to start, along with the Buckeye stickers, start seeing... some corporate sponsors on there mixed in there as well.
Yeah, are the Buckeyes replaced by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank logos?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got, and then you got Tyler just said this, LSU guys that transferred out. Ole Miss is suing them for their money back, basically.
Was there a contract?
Could there be? Yeah, that's the whole thing, and it's leading towards at some point a collective bargaining agreement, and then unionification of college athletics, which then means it's just more like the pros, and that's sad to me, because the cool things that are being destroyed were the cool part of college athletics, college football in particular, that made it different than the NFL.
Let's have some fun. What patch do you think OU is going to get? Who do you think could wind up? I've heard the Osage Nation for OSU. I've heard the Cherokee Nation. I've heard.
Well, I mean, Chickasaw is on the damn field.
Is it River Spirit or River Wind, whatever, or is it?
River Wind is in Norman or down there south. I mean, Chickasaw
is Chickasaw that's on the
that's
field.
on the field. I mean, you'd think one of the two, or if not both, would end up with Continental. ConocoPhillips or something. You know what I mean? One of the big oil field companies, big oil companies.
Yeah. You think one of those?
You'd think they both might have a Loves patch. Speaking of Loves, you'd think they both could have a Loves patch.
Yeah, I Googled
at some point.
Who are big OU football company donors. Loves pops right up. And Devon Energy.
I mean, are we going to have a Pioneer Woman logo on Oklahoma State Athletics since they're up there? I mean, think about the companies right here locally. Depending on the cost, but we know plenty of.
Oh, totally.
We know plenty of people that are.
A Barbara Dyson sticker on the back of an OSU helmet.
You know what I'm saying?
Look pretty good, in my opinion.
There's
that BD logo stands out.
Well, it's the right color scheme to fit. At least that's better than some of the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that where we're headed? I don't know. What's an idea?
Raising Cane's. Yeah, every time I go to Norman and OU game, you always hear Raising Cane's.
Well, they're in both.
Cane's.
I mean,
yeah.
with both the quarterbacks were big time guys
right.
for both of those.
Right.
I mean, our old buddy Lane Jones and HTO, he's in both. I mean, fire off a logo there. What are some other ways, though? Outside the box way. I mean,
outside the
patches or logos on the field,
stickers on helmets,
other
or
ways
logos on fields.
I thought OSU had one of the best ones, and it got the QR code thing. That was a great idea that got denied.
They should just win.
Got to do it again. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do? Just do it.
Yeah. Flash it up on the scoreboard so it's easier to QR code.
Yeah. I mean, little Johnny's like, oh, that's my favorite player. Dad, can I send him $5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's pause the TV and you could scan his helmet. Why not?
Anything else? I mean, the concert thing was phenomenal idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, outside of what we were used to in the corporate world of sports, with the NASCAR comparisons and, even the NFL comparisons, and you see all, which, by the way, and I know I've talked about that documentary I've watched finally on Netflix about the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones and the innovator that he was of telling NFL, I forget you, I'm going to go ahead and go sign Nike, Pepsi. I think it's funny. You can't find a custom Dallas Cowboys Bud Light can, but you can find Miller Lite cans.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that is their official beer. And you go into Jerry World, you're not going to find any Bud products. You find the Miller Lite. That's about it. But, I mean, this was very commercialized before all of this. We know that as far as when you go to stadiums and there's, you see it everywhere. Outside of maybe a couple.
Yeah, that was one of the things that people that went to Notre Dame talked about, how there wasn't. It was like a game from the 50s.
Right.
Which I think is cool, but at the same time, I mean, I get it. They're going to have to come up with creative ways to do it. Yeah, it's a question Tyler just asked. Does it make the game less watchable because it's not like what we grew up with?
I don't know. The thing about all this happening right now, it's happening at the same time as we're at an age where we remember why we fell in love with college football. And that's what's kind of sad for us here in our 40s. Like, God, it's just, it's not the pop and circumstance and all of that. It's just, they try to keep that sanctity there. But now, in the back of my mind, I'm still going to watch. But, I don't know. Maybe it just comes with age where I'm like, well, the spark isn't as, the flame isn't as hot as it used to be when I was a teenager, or even a college kid, waking up while watching College Game Day. Going to the games, the smells, the atmosphere, hearing the band, all of that. That's still there, but in the back of your mind, like, well, there's the patch on their jersey. There's the sticker on their helmet.
Yeah, I mean,
if I want to see this, I'll go to the NFL games. I'll go down to Dallas and watch a game.
I mean, the
jersey, Kansas City.
The jersey thing, they're going to be pretty small. I wonder if you'll even notice it.
Not in the stands, you won't. I don't even think you would on the TV.
But when
it
starts
playing,
when it starts looking like the, like the Senior Bowl,
right?
With everybody's, when they put their helmets, they all go to the Senior Bowl, and you see that it's somebody's helmet, but then they got all the stickers all over it, and it's unrecognizable anymore. When that starts happening, that's when I think that it'll. You'll really notice.
Yeah, last season I went to a game and it was on national television, and you have your TV timeouts. You see that guy out there with the stick and the timer. Even before that, he was just a big orange glove. He had his hand up in the
orange
air.
arms.
Yeah. There's a person behind me like, so see, this is the corporate America taking over college football. I kind of wanted to say to him, we've had TV timeouts forever. Is this your first game? We've always had TV timeouts. So that won't change. I don't know if we'll have more TV timeouts because there's been that cry for let's speed up the game. Not doing that if we have more TV timeouts, but we'll see. It's going to take an uproar. I'm surprised there wasn't one in Norman really when the logo went on the field, because that we've heard people say don't change the jerseys.
Well, but
we don't want to wear those dark jerseys or those alternate jerseys. Keep the normal jerseys. And then you didn't hear a lot of uproar for that.
But I don't know that you're going to hear it until it goes to the helmet. Because as much as jerseys are, people have loved them and they have a respect for them, I think the helmet is the thing. Mm-hmm. And when you start seeing, I just saw, it's so funny. It's like Twitter heard us because there's a...
Are you talking on the side of the helmet or the back of the helmet?
I'm talking about it everywhere. It's not going to stop. That's the thing. It's not going to stop. I mean, yeah, we've seen the couple of stickers on the back, but like this one. It's exactly yellow and red and crimson. And, of course, the front says Love's Travel Stop. It's just a mock-up of something that once the cat's out of the bag, once the genie's out of the bottle, it's not stopping. And, yeah, it'll be, it's just a little patch on the right shoulder. And the next thing you know, it's 18 stickers on a helmet, and you don't even know who it is anymore. All because of money.
Yep.
All because of money. All right, when we come back, wrapping up Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday, talk a little NFL. Who's going to be better? Who's going to be worse? If Baker and the Bucks break up, where could he go next? Skinny on Sports, wrapping up the Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday right now on the Sports Animal.
The biggest Ram and Jeep deals of the summer are happening now at Lipscomb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Elk City. Save up to $11,000 on select remaining 2025 Ram heavy-duty trucks during our model year blowout sale. Plus, get 2.9% financing for 84 months on new 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokees. Call or text us now for the best deals at 580-225-3005 or come see us at Lipscomb CDJR, exit 40 off I-40 in Elk City. Good people, great deals since 1979.
The Skinny on Sports.
We've gone too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
Welcome back. Wrapping up Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. I say one patch on the jersey, one sticker on the helmet. I wouldn't be. You know what? If it was on the back of the helmet, We're used to seeing stickers there anyhow. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it starts being in the front or the top.
No,
or
that's
the
where
side.
I draw the line. No, you don't do that.
Yeah, no NASCAR.
Like, I remember when OU played Washington State in the Rose Bowl. First time OU's ever been in the Rose Bowl, and the pageantry of all that was really cool. And Washington State put like a rose intertwined on the side of their helmet. I remember thinking, if OU did that, I don't think I'd want that. But that's the difference between Washington State and OU, you know what I mean? And I think fans it'd be cool to have that like after the game that you can put on your desk or something. That was cool. But during the game, I think people would have a problem with that. So don't mess with the side of the helmet. The back's fine. You always see different stickers come and go on the back of the helmet all the time. Whether it be for, whatever bowl they're in or a playoff sticker on the back. I've seen state flags isn't OU doing that? State flags of where they're from? Like what state they hail from?
Like the different players?
I think it's OU's doing that. I can't remember if it's OU or OSU. Some team, if like a player was from New Mexico, the New Mexico flag was on the back of their helmet.
Huh.
I could be wrong.
It's getting more and more. And it's not slowing down.
And there's no one to tell them to slow it down.
No.
There's no one going to stop them.
Nope, there's not. All right, NFL right quick. Give me a team in each conference do you think is poised to be better than they were a year ago?
You start. I feel like you have the answers on the ready.
I feel like this is a total cop-out answer. Because I had a good one last year. Last year, mine with the FC was the Patriots because of their schedule, Drake May, and that worked out. This one feels like a cop-out, Jared.
Okay.
But they didn't make the playoffs, so I feel like you can use this one to be better. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, yeah.
That feels like a cop-out answer.
Well, that's all right, but Mahomes reportedly is ready to go. And a healthy Mahomes is definitely the difference maker. So I can see that. Although that division, though, I mean, a lot of people
Maybe it's the Raiders.
The Raiders, huh?
Maybe it's the Raiders. I don't know. Kansas City or maybe the Bengals.
Hard for me to bank on a... Although, I mean, we saw what happened in Washington with the rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done.
I think this question is way easier to find teams in the NFC than it is the AFC.
Yeah. I'm high on Dart.
Oh, yeah.
And Harbaugh.
Giants and Commanders are obvious answers on this one.
Giants could be obviously better than what they were last year.
Giants have the ability. I think of all the teams, the Giants may have the greatest improvement award coming their way. So they went 4 last year. They were 4-13 a year ago.
Looking it up. No, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's only way is up. But I'm not saying the Giants because of how bad they've been the last couple of years. So it's inevitable that they got to be better. But because of what I just said, I think they've upgraded in coach. I even said start of last year, I think Dart should be QB1. I think Harbaugh will understand that, and I think it'll be a good. I think it'll be a good matchup.
Yeah, 4-13 a year ago, and I don't mean just like be okay. They might win 6 or 7. They could win like 10. I think the Commanders are on that list for a different reason.
Healthier
Commanders to get back more to what we saw 2 years ago instead of last year.
I would say the Raiders. Just that division looks so daunting.
And they were 5-12. I could see them winning 10. Washington. I think the Saints You kind of, if you go back and look at a year ago, it was super duper quiet. But the Saints were quietly better than you realized. They won 6 games. They just started out so awful you forgot about them.
You gave up
in November. But then you look and they won 5 out of their last 8. I think and Shao looked like a good quarterback. You know what I mean? I mean, he looked like a good NFL quarterback. I think the Saints could be better. Who would be worse? And here, nobody wants to hear this either, but I'm going to say it. You know who else I think is going to be better? Now, I don't know how far out on this limb I'm going to go, but Dallas is going to be better.
I almost said, dare I say Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas is going to be better. But one time about a division.
Just get their defense better.
That division went from good to sort of laughingstock to I think it's getting back to trending on the good side of things.
Even in the year last year, they were mediocre to almost laughably bad. There was a good chunk of the season where Prescott was considered MVP.
Oh, sure.
Just because of his
defense was just god-awful.
Defense was horrible. So if they can get the defense just a little better.
And they addressed it in the draft, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Which I was begging them to do.
7-9-1.
Begging them to get downs, and they did it.
We've got we've got a Bears are going to the Super Bowl text.
You see, like 2 years ago, would have laughed at that, but
okay. Here's the deal: are the Bears about to be the Commanders of last year?
Like, I don't want to fault the Commanders for having an injury to.
Yeah, but they didn't. I mean, come on, we can't just blame. Everybody's got injuries. We can't just blame injuries.
You're right. Lamb was all beat up last year for the Cowboys. Who knows what But no, I know what you're saying. I don't know.
All right, we'll save Baker talk for tomorrow.
Okay. We are like, a week from tomorrow? Hall of Fame game.
8-6. Yeah.
That's tomorrow. Week from tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I saw. Is this the last Sunday without football?
Yeah. Then we'll have football like every week till the Super Bowl.
That's right. Everybody have a great Lipscomb Wednesday.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.